folks. This is a winter edition of Bite Size Theology, and I'm in the part of Scandinavia where I have my roots. It's in Jämtland, middle of Sweden, and the land I'm standing on is where my grandma grew up and where I've spent a lot of time, wintertime and summertime. And I have seen just reindeers passing by. There are still tracks here around me. I don't know if you can see them. Because this land that we now own is actually Sápmi country. This is not ours, but belongs to the indigenous Sápmi people. And yet my heart is full of this place. So I guess we are two emotional groups of, emotionally there are two groups of people owning this land. In Sámi language, one way of describing God is Iplamakki. God then is the Christian God, the Sápmi Christian God. But that God image is a bit different from ours. And one important aspect of the oppression that is ongoing is something that I've sensed that we're beginning to realize is something that we actually need. In times of climate crisis, emergency, we need Iplamakki rather than the God image of Christianity. The ongoing battle between Iplamakki and the Christian God is palpable. It's present because what has happened in the recent years is that the pilgrimage movement has grown, which is of course in one sense a wonderful thing. People walk to find themselves, walk to reconnect to nature, and they walk past our house that we have here with their rucksacks, and I actually often bake them some cookies to encourage them. But of course their goal, following the kind of transcendent God, is somewhere else. It's in Norway, quite a bit away from here, and it's in a big dome. That's what they're heading for. The dome is the goal of their journey, while they are actually walking through what could be called a holy land for the Sámi people. And that land does not demand a goal somewhere else. No, it demands presence. It demands presence, respect, humble respect in relation to the place where you're at. And it demands vigilance to the weather, to where you can walk, where you cannot walk. Just realizing now that I'm moving a bit too close to the river. I'm not sure where it begins actually. There is some ice here. So Iplamakki is still having to give way for the Christian God, and that Christian God is a God for the passers through. What Du Bois calls the whiteness as the owners of the earth forever and ever. Whiteness as ownership of the earth forever and ever. You can just pass through. You can conquer the land, you can own the land, you can use it for your purposes while passing through. Whereas there is actually a spiritual life being lived right here, and that is vigilant, attentive to the plants growing, the animals moving around, the clouds that can reveal, if you're attentive enough, the changes of weather. And so your safe haven is not the dome, the building pointing towards transcendence, but the safe haven is when you actually realize that you belong to the ground you're walking on, and that Iplamakki God is somehow that ground. God is somehow the mountains, God is somehow the trees and the clouds, the changing weather. I'm just hoping now that I get to see the reindeers again. There were 10 reindeers here earlier on. So it's obvious that I'm occupying a land that isn't mine. And still on the map it says that it belongs to my family.